Hi, everyone. I'm Ben Gonzalez, and this is TDI. If you've ever thought about starting your own business, you were probably concerned about what you were going to do, what you're going to sell, how to make it unique. Well, today we're going to be talking about another thing you might want to think about before you make that leap, and that's getting the right insurance coverage. And joining us today is John Mooney, one of the managers in our property and casualty area. Hi, John. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Ben. Appreciate you having me on.
Oh, thanks for doing this. So obviously every business is going to be unique, but what kind of insurance coverage will just about all of them need to get started with?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of folks may be thinking about starting a business, and again, every situation is unique, so you would need to analyze what your risks are. The most common that come to mind would be a commercial property policy. If you own a business and customers are going to be coming in, whether it's a sandwich shop or any type of business where the customers are going to be coming in, you would need some coverage to your property if it's damaged by hail, tornado, severe storms that roll through. That would be the first thing. Another thing to look at, a lot of folks have, is a professional liability policy. That's very common amongst doctors, accountants, things along those lines, lawyers. If you do something that causes economic damage to a customer, that's another
That protects you from being sued if there's a lawsuit involved.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, most times anybody can sue anybody, but this would provide you a defense. The insurance company would hire a lawyer to defend you. But if you make a mistake as an accountant or as a lawyer, as a doctor, your professional liability insurance would cover you for that risk and exposure. Another common one is automobile, but you have to make sure when you contact the company, you tell them it's for a business, because there's personal auto policies and there's commercial. So if you're a business and you're making deliveries or transporting goods and products from your warehouse, say, to an establishment, you would need to make sure you have a commercial automobile policy that would cover you for liability exposures if your driver would be at fault in an accident, but more importantly, cover you for damage to your truck or vehicle. So those are probably the most common commercial policies that business owners have.
So that first one you talked about, the commercial property, that's kind of the same as what we'd have for our homes, except that it covers a business instead, correct?
Correct. Yeah. The homes typically have exclusions if you have a business out of your home, but that's a great analogy. You could think of it as it's a same as your home, but it's going to cover you for your business if you suffer any damage.
The fire and theft and weather damage and things like that.
Correct.
What about if I'm hiring workers and expanding that way? Is that going to change my needs probably?
Yeah, that's going to, because that's different exposures and risk. And so the two most that come to mind would be workers' compensation insurance and a what they call CGL, commercial general liability policy. So the general liability policy would talk about exposures that your employees have, or you as a business owner, if you do something on those premises, or say you're out and maybe you clean a pool, or you build a fence, you have a company and you're out doing work at somebody's home. If your worker does something to damage the property that they're working on, that general liability policy would cover you. Workers' compensation would cover you for employees if they're injured while they're on the job. And there's certain terms and conditions of the policy would cover their medical bills and expenses, potentially lost wages, rehabilitation. There's a lot, and it helps the employer because it would potentially cover them for liability. The thing to stress here with any of these policies, it's best for a business owner to sit down and analyze their risk and have conversations with a licensed insurance agent. There's the agents can sit down with a business owner, either a current business, and analyze their exposures that they have and make sure they have adequate coverage and the right policies. But also, if you're thinking of starting a business, you should contact a licensed agent who would be able to assist you and review what insurance you would need if you wanted to open a business.
Yeah, we've already covered, 3 or 4, maybe 5 different types of insurance. That's going to get overwhelming quickly, but you kind of need an expert to help you guide you through that situation.
Correct.
Well, what if it's just me at home? My business is maybe doing some accounting, or maybe I'm watching some kids cutting hair at home. Do I still need business insurance for that?
Yeah, you more than likely you probably would. You would need to consult your homeowner's policy. Most homeowners policies do have exclusions for a business. So you alluded to a couple different examples, whether it's a hairstylist or somebody that's running, watching some kids, kind of like a daycare if they're running in and out of their home, or maybe an accountant or a lawyer if they have clients coming over. There's a possibility, a really good possibility that that would be excluded under the homeowners, because the insurance company wants to write the exposures and rate accordingly. So they may have some exclusions if you're having a business as slight as it may be, or maybe just one meeting or whatever. It wouldn't hurt if you're doing that out of your home to contact an agent to have those discussions, and also review your personal homeowner's policy to see if that would be excluded, because you don't want to leave yourself open for an exposure and potentially have to pay some money and your insurance not cover it.
Yeah, I guess that applies both in the home and in your personal car. If you're using it for business, that may change the contract that you have with the insurance company.
Yeah, that's a great point you bring up on the personal automobile insurance. With the pandemic ongoing, a lot of folks have picked up jobs as delivery drivers for different services, for delivering food and products and stuff like that. So they would need to consult their automobile policy, because there may be an exclusion for delivery or doing business work on a personal auto. So they would need to contact whether it's their agent or their insurance company to make sure they're covered on that, because there could be a possibility that it not be covered.
Right. The gig economy can be risky out
Yep.
there. So do we have resources available for somebody that's thinking about starting a business now?
Yeah, on the TDI website, tdi.texas.gov, has a lot of good information on there. The easiest way is to search on the top. They have you can search by business insurance, click on the B up there. It'll bring you down to the page, and it has different types of insurance policies that are out there. There's a few more that we haven't discussed yet that come to mind, is like an inland marine, which covers for potentially jewelry if you have paintings in your business, and also if your cargo is being transported. But yeah, the website at tdi.texas.gov has some resources that are available if folks have any questions or want a little more information.
Yeah, at least to get you thinking about what you might need. But I think we go back to the advice we gave earlier. You're probably going to need to talk to an insurance agent who's done this before and can guide you through what you might need to.
Yeah, that would be my recommendation. Would be is contact an agent, and they can walk you through. And when you explain the type of business that you're thinking of or that you have, they can run through all the different risks and exposures, because you'd be surprised. As a business owner, you may not think you have a risk or exposure. Whether you start now getting into cyber, there's crime insurance. If employees steal from you, I mean, you can go down the list of things that you would think would never happen to you. We touched on professional liability. That's also called E&O, errors and omission insurance. With today's society, with social media, there's a potential if you make a post on a social media channel, somebody could come after you for libel or slander. So you want to make sure you have the right coverage for that, or your employees if they do something on behalf of the company. So you really want to have those conversations and think through what are your risks and exposures to make sure you have the adequate coverage to protect you.
All right. Well, thanks for your time today, John. That's a lot of information that people are going to have to process, and maybe turn to our website to see if they can get more information there. So if you have questions about business insurance or any kind of insurance, of course, visit the website. It's a good resource for all kinds of different insurance. We have a search item at the top of that homepage. Again, it's tdi.texas.gov. And if you have a specific question about a policy you have already, you can talk to one of our experts at the TDI helpline, which is 1-800-252-3439. So for John Mooney, I'm Ben Gonzalez. This is TDI.